Welcome to a special edition of the show coming to you from Davos in Switzerland, the site of the annual World Economic Forum. As Colombia continues its battle against deadly drug traffickers, the country's president, Alvaro Uribe, explains his strategy for bringing peace and security to his people. In his country, he consistently enjoys approval ratings of 70%, enviable not only for a Latin American leader, but any head of state. In the case of Alvaro Uribe, it's particularly significant because Colombia is seen as the front line on the war against drugs, narcotics that destroy the lives of people in North America and across the world. In spite of his notable successes, President Uribe is not without his detractors, who say that his strong-handed tactics to impose law and order in Colombia have left a long trail of human rights abuses. In my conversation with him, he defended his policies, but we started off on how his relationship as a staunch ally of the former US President George W. Bush might develop with President Barack Obama.
We don't speak about individuals' relationships. We speak about the relationship between state and state, and commonalities, and common grounds. We have a common ground with the United States. We profess democratic values, and my country has had an old relationship with the United States. The United States is a practical ally of Colombia in our fight against narco-trafficking, and narco-trafficking is the source of terrorism in our country. President Bush has been very supportive. He was very supportive, and we are totally hopeful that President Obama will be very supportive with our country.
Of course, in the same way that you're looking for support from America for your issues, President Bush was looking for allies in his so-called war on terror, his invasion into Iraq, and Colombia was very supportive of those actions. Looking at how they turned out, that no weapons of mass destruction was found, the war on terror has alienated America, was it wise to back America so much?
This is not my topic. With the internal problems we have in Colombia and we have to overcome, it is enough for us. Therefore, Colombia is totally respectful. Colombia, in my government, does not intervene in these international affairs. We have to devote all our energy to overcome our domestic problems.
Now, when you have a close relationship with a country, of course you're open to criticism, as the US was open to criticism. Human rights groups such as Amnesty International objected when the former President Bush now awarded you the Medal of Freedom a little while back, saying that the Bush administration was, quote, disregard for serious human rights concerns. How do you respond to that?
Colombia, no, I have no answer to this. I would like you to pass to the next question. We practice in Colombia democratic security with democratic values. My generation has not lived one single day of peace. Therefore, we are fighting for the new generations, for the new generation of Colombians to exert the right to live in peace, to enjoy the country. It is very important for you to highlight that our policy on security is a policy with democratic values. Colombia is a country of freedoms, free press, pluralism. Colombia is a country where security is looking with democracy, not with dictators.
Well, I'll ask you more about some of the issues in a moment, but I want to ask you about the main issue, one of the issues you've brought up, which is the narco-trafficking. Now, the US initiated Plan Colombia under the Clinton administration back in 2000 and has been a staunch supporter of that. How do you rate the success of Plan Colombia in its anti-drug?
We haven't won yet, but we are winning. The last figure I saw is that during our administration, the deliveries of cocaine from Colombia to the USA market have decreased 54%.
Let me put a couple of questions we got from emails on the issue of drugs to you, sir.
Of course.
We had one that said, that came in from Rob Timmons in the US, in Oregon, who wrote in saying, what solutions do source nations like Colombia and Mexico have for the client nations of the drug trade? How can we help on this side of the transaction?
The gentleman writing this message is right. It is necessary to strike narco-trafficking, but today we need every country to rethink the idea of permissiveness to consumption. In the world, there is a debate. There are some people saying, okay, we need to legalize illicit drugs. From my point of view, due to the permissiveness in consumption, drugs are legalized. What we need is to penalize consumption, because we penalize crops, we penalize trafficking, we penalize chemical precursors, we penalize money laundering, but we need to penalize consumption. While you do not penalize consumption, it is almost impossible to win this battle. And one very important point to support my point of view, one crucial aspect in the fight of the world against the global warming is to preserve the rainforest. Marijuana, coca are enemies of the rainforest. For instance, in our country, in the Amazon basin, those wanting to grow marijuana, to grow coca, they cut the trees down. Therefore, they destroy the jungle. They add to the global warming. From the ecological point of view, it is necessary to defeat illegal drugs.
On a question that came in, one more from the viewers by email from New York. Wayne Pritchard says, what statistics can you provide that your hardline stance against narcotic trafficking has been effective?
In accordance with the statistics in the USA, the price of cocaine in the streets of the main cities in the United States, the price has risen 90%. The quality has come down, and the deliveries from Colombia have declined by 54%. During our administration, we have extradited more than 1,000 people. Therefore, we are winning this battle, but we need to give continuity. We cannot dismantle.
Now, one of your stated priorities is the battle against the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, the FARC.
They are not revolutionary. They are terrorists. Well, they are narco-traffickers. I remember many revolutions. My generation saw when I was young. They were doctrinaries. The people in Colombia are terrorists, mercenaries, traffickers.
Well, your fight against them has been a priority for you, and in fact, they assassinated your father back in 1983. Now, there was a sense last year that the FARC was being hit very badly. You managed to kill a couple of the top leaders. You seemed to diminish their strength, and yet they seem to have come back in some senses with attacks and bombing last year. How do you rate their current situation?
We are winning, and we will win because we have democratic values. We have a determination to fight all the terrorist groups with democratic values. And in addition to our fight against terrorist groups, we are fighting for Colombia to be more attractive for investors with social responsibility. And at the same time, we are advancing with a project we name social cohesion. Therefore, Colombia is creating more and more confidence upon three pillars: democratic security, investment with social responsibility, and social cohesion. We can say we have an integrated project for our community to prosper.
In fact, you've still got the situation of FARC with hostages, hundreds of hostages. So I wonder, when Venezuela's President Hugo Chavez says that he would work towards the release of hostages held by the FARC, if Bogota requests it directly, would you consider going to him for help?
At this moment, we have the help from the International Red Cross.
I'm going to put one more email question that came in from the US on the issue of drugs and the relationship with the US. This came from Georgie Minard in America. Under the guise of controlling cocaine traffic, we have given Colombia weapons, training, and other military hardware. We have been quiet about his human rights abuses and egged him on in his dispute with Venezuela, hoping to destabilize the Venezuelan government by our meddling. This viewer seems to think America has this geopolitical agenda.
No, this is not a geopolitical agenda. Colombia has suffered during 60 years this problem. And there is one topic. the name is co-responsibility. Therefore, every industrialized country with high rate of illicit drug consumption is co-responsible to fight with us, to side with us in the battle against illicit drugs. We have assumed our responsibility to overcome this problem in Colombia. The industrialized countries with high rates of consumption, they have to assume their own responsibilities. And it is very important to highlight that, for instance, while the people in the United States consume illicit drugs, narco-traffickers are killing people in Colombia.
After we come back from a short break, President Uribe answers questions posed by the citizens of Colombia who want to know what he can do about the country's high unemployment rate. We'll be right back.